And I hate that we using the Ray thing for Jamie Foxx because they say he blind, Ray. You get it? No? Bad joke? Don't worry about it. But Jamie Foxx played Ray, but they're saying that he's blind and paralyzed. And um, Candace Owens had something that she wanted to highlight as a result of it. So make sure y'all hit a like for the YouTube algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. I want to deep dive into this, and her theory of it is much different than my theory of it, because I thought I talked about how evil Hollywood was, but Candace has a completely different perspective of it, and I want to get your thoughts on this. Again, make sure y'all hit a like for the YouTube algorithm, the Ray thing. No, y'all don't like this one. The YouTube algorithm, subscribe to the channel, turn on your notifications. Let's get it popping, y'all.
Man, oh man, Jamie Foxx. I don't even know where to begin with this, because this feels like I feel a part of this journey in many ways. Obviously, you guys know I am producing The Shot in the Dark. I have been producing it off of a Daily Wire platform. Now it's on the Daily Wire platform. I don't know if this needs to be deemed a passion, but
Shout out to Cliff reading that super chat shortly. Thank you, my friend. What y'all sending me out here in these streets? Or is that my daughter spending money on Cash App? Shout out to Gone Postal 28 for the fireball on Cash App. Appreciate you, big dog.
I'm extremely passionate about bodily autonomy. And it was very weird for me when conservatives and liberals alike were suddenly in lockstep, encouraging people to get an experimental vaccine. It just seemed very strange to me. And then people like me who were sensible and said, I'm not going to, it was like a patriotic call. They tried to frame it like a patriotic call. Do your part, roll up your sleeve and get this shot. It was crazy. It was absolutely crazy. You should never, ever, ever put something in your body that you are uncomfortable with because you are under duress. If it is because of a job, leave the job. It's that simple. You only have your own health, right? You're not going to get your health back if it deteriorates, if you get some lifelong illness. So it's interesting to me that money compelled people to do things that they were uncomfortable with. I have
Let me give Candace Owens a little bit of a news flash. This shows how out of touch, in my opinion, that she is. And you know, I give Candace Owens a lot of credit for certain things, and then I also say certain things about how Candace Owens is wrong on some things. One of the things that I thought that she was wrong on is how it was that she painted Steven Crowder as a monster with regard to his relationship. And I think that she's out of touch, because when you're talking about threatening somebody's livelihood, they can't just leave the job. Most people are one paycheck away from being homeless. How do I know? Because I've worked with a lot of homeless people, and that's what the face of homelessness was. It wasn't drug addicts. It wasn't a bunch of people like that. Most people are literally subjected to their circumstances because they are not in a position to just leave the job, and that's the end of the conversation. They not. They really, really not. Just being honest with you. So I think that she's a little bit out of touch. She could be right in her stance, and that people shouldn't be forced to do something that they don't want to do. But at the same time, it doesn't mean that she's not out of touch with the reality of why people do what they want. Why people are making the decisions that they're making is because they got a family to feed. That's what I'm saying. Of course, Ray is going to say, only time that Ray comments is when he says that Anton is wrong on both counts. I'm right. I'm right. I'm always right, Ray. I am right. I'm right in that she's right in the idea that people shouldn't be forced to do something or take something that they don't want to do. But she's wrong in that she's out of touch with the reality that people are really, really only one paycheck away from losing everything, and they don't have the capability to just be able to walk away from whatever it is that they're doing. I'm right. Okay?
people in my family, in my immediate family, that were injured from this vaccine severely. Will never have the same quality of life ever again, despite me pleading with them not to get this vaccine and to wait for it. And obviously, by the way, and speaking of topics that we weren't allowed to talk about on YouTube, I remember the peer pressure campaign for all YouTubers to remain mum because they decided that you were not allowed to at all say anything.
That is absolutely correct. We had to stay away from it. We even started giving it nicknames. Back then, we used to call it the jab. I remember it was some people that got deplatformed as a result of saying that, they were saying that you were spreading false information. And so, yeah, that was a thing. A lot of people had forgotten about it, but that wasn't that long ago where you could not say anything about taking a jab. Even today, I still call it the jab because, the way that we look at it and the way that we see it is completely different than how it was that it was being monitored and shepherded and all of this other type of stuff. We called it the jab back then. So,
but to encourage people to roll up their sleeves and to get this vaccine. And many people suffer the consequences. Well, we can't say they suffered the consequences per se because it's all hearsay. But remarkably, a bunch of young, healthy people in Hollywood started experiencing things like face paralysis and brain clots. So before we get to Jamie Foxx, let me remind you, Justin Bieber, whose face just magically went paralyzed. And he was on tour, which would signal to me that he definitively got the COVID-19 shot. But again, that is sheer speculation. We can also just assume that a healthy young kid in his 20s just randomly gets a paralyzed face. Take a listen.
This syndrome called Ramsay Hunt syndrome.
yeah, that dude, eyes moving weird. But we don't know. But okay, let's continue. This is her theory of why it is that she feels like what's going on with Jamie Foxx. But let's continue.
And it is from this virus that attacks the nerve in my ear and my facial nerves and has caused my face to have paralysis. As you can see, this eye is not blinking.
Well, lightning struck twice in the Bieber household because his wife was then also impacted with a droopy face and a blood clot in her brain. Take a listen.
When I went to respond, I couldn't speak. The right side of my face started drooping.
Yeah, that is weird. I ain't even gonna front. For both him and her to get it, and they're not even blood related or something like that, yeah, that is a little bit weird. I'm not saying that it's as it relates to that, but that is a little bit weird. We don't know what it is, though. We don't know what their lifestyle is. We don't know what they're taking. I don't know. It's just hard for me to just jump to conclusion based off of theories, but I can't completely ignore that it is a thing.
Couldn't get a sentence out. Everything was coming out like, not even jumbled, just like couldn't get any of the words out. So obviously immediately I thought I was having a stroke, like a full-blown stroke. He thought I was having a stroke, so right away he asked for somebody to please call 911 and get a doctor.
Are we normalizing that? Are we normalizing people that are in their 20s thinking that they're having strokes, having face paralysis? Is that normal now? Are we doing that as well as young kids having heart attacks? Are we just going to pretend that we didn't do anything medically throughout COVID that could be contributing to that? Okay, cool. I want to play by YouTube's rules. They just all are randomly having this stuff happen to them. Of course, that's just two examples. Well, Jamie Foxx was admitted to the hospital because of a medical complication.
The girl looked pretty normal, though, but neither here nor there.
That's all the public was told on Thursday, April 11th, and we were never given any specific details on his current health status. He had been replaced in a movie that he was working on. There's been a lot of speculation. Like I said, it was no way to say that this happened or it didn't happen. It was pure speculation surrounding various things people were saying that he was going through. And his daughter initially spoke out and said that he's out of the hospital. Rumors are running wild. The media is running wild. He was playing pickleball yesterday. Thank you, everybody, for your prayers and support. We're excited to announce something else in the next week or two. Well, she made that statement. And then I would say about a week later, a journalist by the name of AJ Benza claimed that he spoke to a source that was extremely close to Foxx. And here is what he heard about the situation.
Reading Super Chat shortly. I see you, J-Rock.
Take a listen.
I had somebody in the room who let me know that Jamie had a blood clot in his brain after he got the shot. He did not want the shot, but the movie he was on, He was pressured to get it. What I found out from the man in the room was that the blood clot in the brain caused him at that point to be partially paralyzed and blind.
I didn't even know that they were still getting a jab. I thought that the jab was over, to be honest with you. Like, I haven't heard of anybody getting a follow-up jab. I haven't even heard of anybody getting COVID over the last year, 2 years, or whatever, how long it's been. I didn't know people were still getting a jab. But apparently, what that guy was saying was that it was somebody in the room that said that Jamie Foxx didn't want to get another jab. But they forced him to get a jab. Now he got a blood clot in his brain. It's so many different theories that's running rampant, right? One theory is that what Candace Owens is saying right here. Another theory is that it just naturally happened. And then another theory was that once Jamie Foxx started talking about all of the tapes that he got and recording different parties and all of this other type of stuff, that things started mysteriously happening to him. So this is wild. This is absolutely wild. Let me see what else that Candace Owens got to say.
So I will make an assessment based on what is not being said. His family has spoken to the media. This obviously went viral. Everybody is reporting on this on the left and the right, and the family has declined to comment thus far. I would say, just using common sense, that if this was my family and a person went out and told a viral lie that I suffered a blood clot in my brain because of the COVID-19 vaccine, we would immediately issue a statement. We would condemn the journalist, and my family would call them a liar and say that it's just none of your business. But they seem remarkably hush-hush about this, and they are choosing to say nothing. So their silence seems as though they are suggesting that there is some veracity to this claim. We are all holding our breath to see whether or not Jamie Foxx speaks out, especially because he's saying that he did not want to do this. This is what they were doing. They were demanding that in order for people to make money and to have a livelihood, in the same way that with children and vaccines, they say, if you want your child to go to school, even if you're uncomfortable with your child getting X amount of shots in one go, hence my series, A Shot in the Dark, they say you have to do it, right? So you're not free to make these decisions. No, you're making these decisions under duress. And it is so important for people to remember that you only have one body, right? You cannot magically get your health back. And I am genuinely hoping, I love Jamie Foxx, I love his work. I am hoping that he makes a full recovery, as Hailey Bieber has done and as Justin Bieber has done. And if he doesn't, I then will instead pray and hope that he gets the courage to tell the truth, because there will be an insurmountable amount of pressure with someone with that much influence to stay hush, to say mum about what happened to him. And if he does speak out about what happened to him, he will also face an immediate backlash. People will call him a liar. This is what happens when you are vax injured. I was vax injured from the Gardasil vaccine. I spoke about that, and people pretended, like many other people that suffered consequences from having that vaccine, that you're a liar, that there's no way we can know that it's related to this. Very scary times that we're living in, when people can't even talk about what they have experienced, especially when it's something that is so horrific, and that experience is only taking place because they are complying with peer pressure. So again, we do not know yet from anybody in his family that there's any veracity to the claims that are being made by AJ Benza, but what we can say is that they have not disputed the claims.
So essentially, what she's basically saying is that, let me get that off that picture. Basically, essentially what she's saying is that it's a strong possibility that Jamie Foxx's current condition, especially as it relates to being reported on being blind in one eye and paralyzed, can strongly be supported by the idea that maybe he took the jab and then it didn't work out for him so well. And so a lot of people are jab adverse, and that they don't believe in it. They don't think that it's a good thing for you. They don't think that it's something that you should take. But I think that everybody should have the ability to choose for themselves. It's just a weird situation. It's weird times that we live in, because you don't know what you don't know anymore. You don't know the reason why they're doing certain things. We don't know what's the goal behind it. We don't understand whether it's good for us or bad for us. We hope that the government or whoever it is that's in power don't have an ulterior motive or agenda behind how it is that they're moving. But it is still very much a touchy subject, and I'm wondering when this thing is going to actually start to shed light on what happened to him, and if they would actually tell the truth, if they actually did know what was happening to him.